guys, welcome back. Just to confirm, because like I said, I've told you guys before, the more signs you're open to, the more you're going to get. If you are hoping for that dramatic, once in a lifetime, Hollywood style sign, you're not going to get it. I was like, wow, do I really have all the gods I think I do? And I was talking to them during the day, and sometimes you wonder. And I'm listening to this positive thinking book, which I love, and I go up and I put on the classical radio station, and there's a wolf. It's a female wolf. And then the composer, to be sure, they don't let wolves on these stations, as far as I know. And there is a bear. There's Mozart did a little bear song, and his name is Wolfgang. So two wolves and a bear. And then there's a song about vixens, and there's a song about fawns, and there's a song about hunting, and I'm sure it would have went on and on and on, but it was already, 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I would love to listen to this till 4 a.m. But, I wanted to get up to get the bear in the morning, and good thing I got up, and I had like 6 hours of sleep. The bear came pretty early, got the bear. We have the bear. And, I got all these animals today on my feed, which was nice because it's nice coming in and instead of seeing something depressing, seeing a bunch of cute animals, seeing foxes and everything else. And that really, really does you good. And, I had listened to this book before, and I actually love this book. But, you have to come to peace with certain stuff in your life. And once you come to peace with it, then you can go back and you can access more stuff. When you finally reach your peace, with whatever you went through growing up, if you grew up Christian and that. And I'm not saying just pretend it never happened. I'm saying once you reach your peace with that and realize it was people that did it to you, not God or whomever, then you can go back and you can dig in the Christian bag of goodies. This is not the Christian channel, but the power of positive thinking. If we have any Christo Wiccans out there, or Christo pagans out there, that is Christian Magic 101. Go listen to that book. It is free. It is free on YouTube. Go listen to The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. You will love that book because it's realistic and that's how magic works. That is actually how magic works. You say the prayer or you cast a spell, and it's actually the same exact thing, and you be willing to put in the hard work. If the gods or God or Buddha, the Loki, the tree outside mean for it to happen, it's going to come to pass. It's going to be guaranteed. But you got to have faith, you got to have a positive attitude, and you got to be willing to put in the hard work. If you won't put in the hard work, if you won't have faith, if you're going to have a negative attitude, it's never going to work. As Loki often says to me, well, yeah, with an attitude like that, it ain't going to work. And so we've been really happy. I found it in the tickled pink because Norman Vincent Peale sounds like a codgety old grandfather. I'm thinking of that must have blown people's minds to hear this crotchety old man, and I never heard his voice before. Reading this book about positive affirmations, and let me tell you something, Sonny. Like, he sounds like the meanest, nastiest old codger. And this is a guy that taught positive affirmations to people, and he taught people the right way to do it. And most people peace out when he mentions the hard work part. Now, to be sure, he mentions a lot of the Bible. He does go into sin a little bit. But, he's using sin as a nice euphemism, and you start to think as an adult what these people probably most likely did. And you're like, oh. He doesn't tell people to rat them out. He doesn't tell them to turn themselves in. He doesn't tell them to, ruin their life by telling the whole world what they did. He's just basically like Jesus would have said, go your way and sin no more. You got to change your attitude. You got to change your attitude. And a lot of these people, he said, were nervous because they were terrified they were going to find out. Maybe they were taking money from work. Maybe they were cheating on a spouse. And instead of causing problems, he said for them, because they're Christians, go give forgiveness from their God and know that God is giving their forgiveness no matter what. But they have to be truly sorry. It's not a system, as non-believers see. It's not a system of go do all the bad stuff you want and go, oh, I'm so sorry. you have to mean it. You have to be truly sorry. It's not, and especially don't set out to do the wrong thing and go, oh, I'll just apologize later. No, you have to have fallen short, then apologize and truly mean it and try to do better in the future. It's the same thing with our gods. We know when we've done wrong. You don't need to be Christian to know when you've done wrong and you're looking at the floor and you're kind of hoping the gods didn't notice and you're like, ah, they noticed. They noticed. And Loki especially will come over and course correct on you, kind of look at you. We just don't have the word sin, but we still have a sense of wrongdoing. We have a sense of when we've done people wrong. And I was thinking, though, I was thinking, well, my life's already changed so much for the better. What changed in it? And what changed in it is first the negative Nancy I knew moved. And I realized that she had two modes. And I think I've attracted these women in my life because they were very much like my grandmother, either bragging on everything or complaining about everything and so mean and so bitter and so nasty. And I'm like, that's my grandmother all over. Why would I want this woman back in my life? Um, my grandmother tried. She just didn't know how to relate to people, and it was clear. But she was the meanest, most manipulative, hardest woman in the valley. But she did try. I'll give her credit. Her one good thing was she did try to get along with people. She just didn't know how. She was kind of the queen bee, I think. And queen bees do not do well when they have to get along with other people on their level. They just can't. They're approaching you real mean. And the only way we got along and had a decent relationship was I learned to get past that queen bee stuff and, talk to her on her level, and she was fine. Same thing with these two ladies. What the first one moved, and once I didn't have, reason to go visiting, sure, it was sad at first, but then I'm like, I'm not getting to hear a half hour or an hour or two. Sometimes you keep me on the phone 2 or 3 hours of complaining, you know? And with the other one, I dread now even walking by her house because I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna be hot. She's gonna see me. No, I told her we just can't be friends anymore. So that'll be fine. But I'm like, oh God. And I talked to God yesterday since I'm listening to this stuff, and I said, look, Lord, if you want me to give this woman another chance, because there's a part about forgiving people and letting stuff go, but he doesn't insist you keep bad people in your life either. Um, I said, you let it go, but I was really frank. I said, this woman is never happy. I said, she's either bragging on stuff 'cause she's like the other one, or I said, anything you give her, it's not enough. And she expects stuff from people that even don't have it to give. And I said, I'm sorry, Lord, but that's too much pressure on me. And, like I would be sitting with her and it would be a beautiful day and there would be clouds and there would be birds and there would be cars. And that ain't quite my gig. I don't usually just sit there. It felt like we were just sitting there when we could go for a walk or something else. But um when I first met her, she probably could have went for a walk. She probably could have. But she was babied. She was babied way too much. A lot of us have chronic health issues and we know to be careful with ourselves, but we also know not to baby ourselves either. It's a fine line. You walk like a drunken clown. Okay, yeah. And she got babied, so she got progressively worse and worse. But, you'd still be sitting there on a perfect day. It would just be one of those perfect days. Like, nobody would be hassling everyone. The whole world and town seemed to be getting along, and birds singing, and, hawks flying overhead, and, all these beautiful parts of nature, little bunnies, everything else. You think she was happy? And I'd say, what's the matter? Well, what's the matter? Didn't sleep well last night. Okay. You seen the doctor? Yeah. Okay. What's the matter? And I try before I knew she just liked having something to complain about. I was like, okay, well, how's your diet going? You drinking coffee like right before bed? My family, I don't know. It's a German trait, I guess. We can drink coffee and fall asleep, but some people they'll be wired. It was a thing. You give my father a cup of coffee, he'd fall asleep. It was a miracle. Anyhow, well, I tried to do the practical stuff. Is it your diet? Are you worrying? Are you trying to do too much? And there's all these practical things from everything from the Bible to the Hava Mall about letting your worries go. And there's a saying about give your problems to God. He's gonna be up all night anyways. Applies to Loki. Applies to any of them. And she just everything was always so bad for her, so bad. She didn't want to do anything to change it, and I had to realize that she didn't want to change it. She didn't want to sleep well. And as I've listened to that book again, I'm like, you really do have to clean out your attitude. You really do. We're in the process of 24 hours of thinking positive. I know it's a struggle, but it's a good one. There you go. Be positive. 24 hours of thinking positive. Every time a negative thought comes in, boop, scoot it out. And you do that for 24 hours. And then you do it for a week. And then after you've done it for a week, you can do it. It was either 2 weeks or a month, but after you've done it that long, you can go back to normal. Okay? And you'll find out your old normal was you complaining all day long. Americans love to complain. It's like our national hobby. Everything's so bad. Yeah, that's true. Americans are like probably the saddest, most depressed country. We always see like it's somewhere in Scandinavia, like they're the happiest country, and we're like, because Americans love to complain. We do. We like to go to coffee shops and complain for an hour. That's why these books, we have 5 million of them and they never work. We like to complain. It's like, well, yeah, that's one thing you have to give up if you're going to be doing this positive stuff. And, it doesn't mean you can't ever have a good growl session once in a while, but, he's the cutest thing to hear read this, because I always imagine he had this beautiful, soft speaking voice, and he sounds like this. Oh man, if he gonna tell you something, and you better listen. And I know what I'm talking about. And I'm listening to this, and I looked at Loki, and I looked bewildered, and I said, "That can't be his real voice." He's like, "Yep." I said, "How did people take, positive affirmations from this guy?" And Loki's like, "I think he intimidated them, because he sounds like he'll bop you in the nose if you won't listen." And I was actually tickled pink, and we were laughing and having fun with this, because he sounds grumpy. He sounds like the grumpiest guy in the world. And I'm like, this is probably why it was such a success. He's coming to speak motivational words to you, and he sounds like this. And let me tell you something. I said, it's like a motivational speech from Odin. He goes, yeah, I know. It sounds like it's gonna get scary halfway in the middle, doesn't it? So we were tickled pink. And then it was Animal Land. When we went to sleep, we got did I tell you this already? I don't know. I've tried a couple times. We got 2 wolves, a pair, fawns, vixen, hunting, and we knew we had that shipment coming in this morning, so, we went to bed. But I would have liked to hear more, and would have liked to hear, what else. But I can always go back and check their playlist, see what else they got. And I got up today and got all this good music and everything. And I put together that video for Thor because, it is Thor's Day. And I was like, that's meant to be if that bear's going to arrive on Thor's Day. And it arrived. And we've just been, I have this ritual I do. And, as a witch, just as a practicing pagan, if I have it on hand, I will get some incense, and anything that comes in, I'll incense it, and I'll incense the rest of the house. And I'll think, positive, uplifting thoughts, and I will greet it. And whatever it is, even not like every damn thing. Like, I don't go get like some, DQ and get out the incense or something, but something that's gonna be getting laughter and cheers, something that's gonna be a permanent part, that is gonna be spiritual in some sense. That's what I'm talking about. Just to clarify. Look, he's like, let's start incensing the Oreos. Ah! I swear we don't drink. And So we got incense and we're incensing up the bear and we do it all around and then we made that Thor video and we're just silly and giddy because we're doing this positive thinking thing. But I realize that's a huge part of what turned my life around is getting all of her negativity out of my life. And you feel bad for some people, but some people don't want to be happy. You got to recognize the people in your life that don't want to be happy. They don't want to be happy. They don't want to think positive. And these are usually the people that are really knee deep in their religion. And we've all seen witches like that. We've seen heathens like that. They might even be neck deep or like sinking down in, but we've seen Christians like that, and you've seen atheists like that too. They don't want to be happy. They want to be right, and they're right because they know, and they're just a realist, right? And I think the gods led me to that atheist Reddit, which I don't go to anymore. Not anything wrong against atheists, but the vast majority of them just wanted to be right. And they wanted to keep talking, and we have an expression about beating a dead horse. They wanted to just keep beating that dead horse, and the horse is dead already. You don't have to hit it anymore. The expression means that the horse is dead already. Stop. They're never going to heal if they're just going to go in there and keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. I never have once seen a thing about this is why atheism makes me so happy. It's all about this is why Christians suck. And like you're never gonna move on, dude. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. I know a lot of us went through trauma. You know what? Let it go. Humans did that to us. God didn't do it. Jesus, Buddha, the tree outside. Loki didn't do any of that to us. We've all run into bad people connected to our gods. I've run into bad Lokeans. I've run into stalkerish tearsmen. I've run into idiots that, claim Odin or Thor, but you can't hold it against the gods. You can't hold people's actions against the gods. I know for those of us that listen, because we swear the gods have us on a collar and a leash, and they just pop the leash every so often. Those of us that listen, we even do bad stuff, and we know we do. Or they wouldn't be popping the leash every so often, and we're like, "What? I didn't do anything." And they're like, "Mm-hmm." So, it's just a thing of you have to let that stuff go. And that's what, that power of positive thinking is about letting it go. You're not going to win any contest dragging your grievances into the afterlife. And I think that's what turned me off of heathenry too. It's like a grudge fest. It's like, let's see how many people we can hate because we feel oppressed. And I'm talking about the Reddits, but there are also a lot of the writers. It's a personal grudge and everything's so hard and you don't understand. I'm like, you need an attitude adjustment. Don't hang out with those people. They will kill your spirit. And it's like there's this good video about, berserkers didn't actually go berserk. They didn't, and I can give you guys a link if you're interested. Berserkers didn't, all that references to biting shields and everything else, those were separate little things. Berserkers, also we know is they may or may not have worn a bearskin shirt. That's it. We don't know if they went into battle. We don't know if they were just spiritual. We don't even know if it meant bearskin or it meant bear skin. There's the etymology is kind of muddled. So there were no such thing as berserkers putting on bear pelts and going crazy and going into battle and doing magic mushrooms and all that. It's a fiction. Other people dispute that because they've got a lot emotionally and masculinity invested in that, but they didn't do that. There weren't all these crazy guys because just think about it. Do you want a guy that's like off his nut going with you into battle? Do you really want that guy having weapons? Because he will come after you as much as he comes after the other people. Could they have had a totemic thing with beer? Sure, but not in the way we've idolized them. Unfortunately, there were no special shock troops, for berserkers, and probably the same thing associated to the wolves too. They may not have even been warriors. I think maybe they meditated and they were shamans or something, or maybe they were just regular people. Or you had a few people who had bear or wolf totems, but it wasn't It wasn't in the sense we have today. So that gave me a lot to think about because if you take the berserkers away from, from Odin, if he doesn't have these crazy mentally unstable people running around in bear skins and he doesn't have these crazier still people running around in wolf skins and they were all rational, disciplined fighters, which is what you want in an army, um, then you have to reevaluate the old man because you think of why did the old man get bears and why did Thor get bears? Because they're strong and they know how to find food. You trust a bear to find food and they command respect, right? You don't have to be terrified of them. I live in black bear country and I've had quite a few close encounters with Mr. and Mrs. Bear, and you learn to give them their room, and you don't bother the bear, and the bear don't bother you, and you stay away from each other is what you do. And the bears, also fertilize things because they eat and then they do other things. And there's this bear scat all around the woods, and that's how berry bushes and everything else get put all around. I'm sure ancestors knew that, so they fertilize, and bears are, fertility symbol as well. And there's really nothing more ferocious than a she bear. Don't get between the she bear and the cubs. It's kind of universally understood. She's very ferocious. They might have very poor eyesight for animals, but they are very ferocious. They know your shape, and they will come see your shape very aggressively. So we hope you guys are having a good one. We're going to continue to do that positive thinking thing. And we've been kicking around ideas about, what to do for dinner. Partly want to do one thing because I'm going to start reading this other book that I have in the home that I read it every year as a tradition once it starts to get spring or summery. It's going to be in the 70s today. And I said that partly makes me want to go walk up the hill and get some hot dogs, but I don't know. And partly because we got the beer and I'm like, well, that's not good beer food. Maybe we'll make still have some of that honey almond butter. Maybe make honey sandwiches or make, something else. I don't know. We'll see. A little sleepy today, but overall I'm doing pretty good. But I got 6 hours of sleep, so maybe I'll end up taking a nap instead of walking up a hill. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.